The girl wept uncontrollably when a 60-year-old man proposed marriage to her. She had no desire for him or the life he represented, but it seemed to be the only option to save her family. Unbeknownst to her, discovering the old man's secret would alter everything. Alice lived with her parents and her older brother, Jake, in a small rural town. The family was very poor and worked various low-paying jobs. At one point, they were homeless and had to live on the streets. Despite these tough times, Alice's parents made sure their kids went to school, and both siblings did well in their studies. Fortunately, after finishing high school, Alice got a scholarship to go to college. A few years later, at 26, she graduated and found a job as a secretary. She wanted to start her own family soon, but sadly, no man seemed interested in her. Many men asked Alice out, but when she shared her background, they stopped talking to her. They didn't want to be with a woman from a poor family, thinking she would only love them for their money. Jake faced similar problems. The women he approached looked down on him because of his financial situation. Then one day, Alice's family received a surprising letter. A 60-year-old man wrote to say he wanted to marry Alice. When her parents saw his name, they were shocked. He was the richest man in the community. The next week, the man visited Alice's parents and brought them food they really needed, so they accepted his gifts. He'd also promised to take good care of them. It seemed their struggles might finally be over, but it would come at a big cost: their daughter's happiness. The couple called Alice and told her everything about the old man. Alice found herself in a very tight spot. She thought about the man she would love to spend the rest of her life with, and this old man didn't even come close. But thinking about how much her family was suffering, did she have any other choice? Would it be right to reject this proposal when it was the only thing that could save herself and her family? Alice thought. So she called her parents and told them, "I will do anything for my family. I will marry the old man." The next day, Alice traveled home, and her family received another letter from the old man saying he would come to the house early the next morning to see Alice. That morning, Alice's parents made sure she wore her best outfit. Alice was scared. What did the man look like? Would he treat her nicely? Would she even love him? Well, all of her fears disappeared the moment she saw the man, and she knew things would work out between them. The old man didn't look great, and his face was wrinkled, but his personality did the trick. He was very kind and humble. He was witty, and Alice learned a lot from him. They spoke as if they were longtime friends and played like kids. Soon enough, the family set a wedding date, and Alice was a happy bride-to-be. She didn't mind that the man was a lot older than her parents, and she didn't care about his wealth. She just wanted to share her life with him. The old man kept visiting Alice, and as each day passed, she became more comfortable with him. She loved his clever nature and the way he respected and cared for her family. Finally, it was the morning of the wedding. Alice stood in front of her husband and took her wedding vows, but her mind was filled with fear, and tears trickled down her cheeks. Was this real or a dream she needed to wake up from? Would things continue to be pleasant, or was a catastrophe waiting for her down this seemingly beautiful road? After a few hours, the wedding came to an end. The staff drove Alice to one of the old man's luxury houses, where he and his bride could consummate their marriage. Alice took a quick shower and sat on the bed without saying a word to her husband. She was anxious. She had never been intimate with a man, and she didn't know if the night would go well. "Let me shower," the old man said, tapping Alice's shoulder gently before going to the bathroom. After 30 minutes, when he still hadn't returned to the room, Alice drifted off to sleep. 3 hours later, she suddenly woke up, scared out of her wits when she heard the shower running. What was he still doing there? Was he planning something evil? Is this the point of the story where she would pick up her bags and run? Alice wondered. Just then, the bathroom door opened, and a young, gorgeous man walked out. He approached Alice with the most beautiful smile she had ever seen. Alice was frightened and shook like a leaf. Were her eyes deceiving her? Was this some kind of magic? Alice tried to scream, but the young man placed a finger over her lips and said, "Hey, it's me." Alice recognized the voice as that of her husband, but she didn't believe it was him. Just then, the man pulled Alice into his arms and kissed her. It was fierce, slow, and passionate. For a split second, Alice got carried away by the kiss, but when she regained her composure, she broke away. "What kind of joke is this? Get away from me. I don't know you." Alice screamed, tears streaming down her face. She rushed into the bathroom. thinking her husband was there, but it was empty. Then she turned to the young man and screamed, "I don't care if he looks old. I love him. He makes me happy. I want to share my life with him, so please give me back my husband." Alice thought the young man had tricked her into marrying the old man just so he could later have her. "Why didn't you have the guts to come to me by yourself? Do you think having power and wealth gives you the right to treat and use people as you please? Please take me to my husband. I cannot withstand being away from him." Alice fell to the ground and wept hard. The young man knelt beside her and gently tapped her shoulder. He explained to Alice that he was indeed her husband and that he was never old. Instead, he wore makeup that made him look that way. But Alice didn't believe him. "It's me, my love. I am the one. I'm here for you, and I love you so much too," the man said. Then he recounted all the beautiful memories and conversations they had, but none of this convinced Alice that he was indeed her husband. The young man told Alice there was something else she needed to know. He explained that he first met her at the office when he came for a business meeting with her boss. Alice was also at the meeting since she was the secretary. The young man told Alice that during that meeting, he fell in love with her wit, smile, and humility. "I asked your boss to tell me more about you, and he said you were selfless, honest, humble, and truthful. He was right. You love me for who I am and not for all I own, and that's what I've been searching for," the young man said, but Alice still didn't believe him. At that point, the young man tapped his fingers and two makeup artists walked into the room and approached Alice. "These women transformed me from a young man to an old man, and I did all that because I wanted to find true love, and I found that in you." The young man sat on a chair, then tapped his fingers again, and the makeup artist started working on his face. Alice watched in awe as the makeup artist slowly transformed the young man into the elderly man Alice had married. After 3 hours, the transformation was complete, and the man now resembled the elderly husband Alice had married. Overwhelmed with emotion, Alice burst into tears and ran into his open arms, sharing a warm and tight hug. "It's you. It's really you. Right now, it doesn't matter if you look young or old. I'm just so happy it's you. I'm grateful you are the man I married. I promise you will never regret loving me," Alice said, kissing her husband as the makeup artist cheered. From that day on, they lived happily ever after. Stories like this remind us to look beyond appearances. Our loved ones may not fit conventional standards of beauty, but if we take a moment to look deeper, we can see their sweetness, love, and true beauty. It's not about how someone looks, it's what's inside that truly matters. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more inspiring tales like this one.